I think Gregg's in a really, I'm talking about Gregg Berhalter, obviously, is in a really interesting position right now because, while there might be a tendency to kind of strut back in, I think he recognizes that he has some work to do. And he has some work to do to, I don't know if it's regain, maybe for some it's just establish a credibility and a belief and a confidence from people that don't think that he is necessarily the right person to take this forward. And so, and you see it, and look, again, Twitter is not life, but there certainly are those that would look at this game tonight and say, oh, well, Gio Reyna, why didn't he start during the World Cup? And that's what should have been done. And this is obviously proof that Gregg Berhalter has no idea what he's doing, or Chris Richards, or blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on. And that's an easy game to play. And it's not necessarily unfair to do something like that. But it's a long way of saying that I think Gregg Berhalter has to come in and re-examine the way that he thinks about these players and this team. And yes, it's a continuation. And yes, U.S. Soccer Federation and Matt Crocker have talked about wanting to continue the work that got started. But there has to be a definitive type of evolution and change that we can all feel. It's palpable, and that we can actually see on the field in terms of the players that are out there, what ultimately happens. Because otherwise, if it's just a rehashing, and U.S. is, if you see the way they've talked about it, optics are important, right? The way when they've gotten up in front of the public, the way they've talked about it is this is not business as usual. I don't know ultimately how that manifests and how it changes, but the way I would think it would is that it's a continuation, yes, in terms of the young players that Gregg Berhalter has have, but you want to see, and I want to see, I think everybody wants to see that progress so that ultimately it's not the same team. I don't think it can be the same team, but Gregg has to evolve also. And I think he would be the first person to tell you that he can evolve, and maybe it's easier to evolve now. Obviously, he has the job, but also that this generation is growing forward.